Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Damaris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today, with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
Hey everyone, and welcome to today's deep dive. We're tackling a topic that I think is really important to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Earning a doctorate when you're dealing with learning disabilities or ADHD. We're going to be pulling insights from this really interesting book called Breaking Barriers: Achieving Your Doctorate with Learning Disabilities. And trust me, this isn't just skimming the surface. We're going to be going deep to uncover like the real gems, the kind of stuff that goes way beyond your typical, study tips.
Right.
So,
what I find really fascinating about this book is how it reframes the whole conversation about learning disabilities in academia.
Okay.
It's not about seeing these as limitations on your intelligence,
Right.
but more about recognizing that everyone's brain is wired differently.
Okay, so you're saying it's not that you can't learn, it's just you learn differently.
Exactly. Think of it this way.
Yeah.
Your neurological wiring impacts how you focus, how you organize information, even how you remember things. And these are all like essential skills for taking on a doctorate. Right. But instead of seeing these differences as obstacles, we need to figure out how to work with them.
Okay.
That's where the real magic happens.
I like that. Now, before we get to those strategies, though,
Sure.
the book tackles some pretty harmful myths that are still floating around about learning disabilities. I'm talking about the kind of stuff that can really make you question your abilities. Have you ever heard any of these? Learning disabilities means you're not intelligent, or that they're just a result of bad teaching, or not trying hard enough, that maybe you just need to stick to those traditional study methods, or even worse, that universities just aren't equipped to support you. And the ultimate downer, that you can't really achieve high academic success with LD. Oof, talk about a confidence killer.
You're hitting on some major points there. And these myths are not only untrue, they can be incredibly damaging.
Right.
The book does a brilliant job of breaking each one down and showing why they just don't hold up.
Yeah, like, for real, it's time to debunk these myths once and for all. So, for example, let's talk about intelligence. If someone tells you that having a learning disability means you're not smart, well, the research just doesn't back that up. Think about it. Intelligence is multifaceted, right?
Yeah.
People with LD often shine in areas like creative problem-solving, communication, even critical thinking, which are all super valuable skills in a doctoral program. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And those strengths often get overshadowed because they don't fit the traditional mold of what's considered academic intelligence.
Right. It's like saying that a fish isn't intelligent because it can't climb a tree.
Exactly.
You know, it's all about playing to your strengths and recognizing that intelligence comes in many forms. And that brings us to another myth, that there's only one right way to learn. The book really challenges that notion, and it emphasizes that for students with LD, it's all about finding the approaches and the support systems that work best for you.
Right.
No more cookie-cutter solutions.
Exactly.
Now, what about the myth that universities just can't support students with LD? I'm guessing the book has some strong words about that one, too.
You bet. While it's true that some institutions are better equipped than others, many universities are waking up to the fact that they need to provide more support.
Right.
Think accessibility services, academic coaching, even peer support networks. These resources are out there, and they can be game changers. The key is to be proactive and seek them out. They're there to help you succeed.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength.
Exactly.
You deserve the support you need to reach your full potential. Now let's address that last myth, the one that says high academic success is just out of reach if you have LD.
Yeah.
This is where the book gets truly inspiring. It's packed with stories of individuals who not only completed their doctorates, but who are now thriving in their careers.
Yeah.
They're living proof that with the right support and strategies, anything is possible. Okay, I'm already feeling inspired, but let's get practical. Chapter 2 of the book dives into strategies for overcoming barriers. And one of the first things it emphasizes is recognizing your personal strengths. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we be focusing on what's hard?
That's a great point. And that's what makes this book so insightful.
Okay.
It's not about fixating on what you find difficult. It's about understanding and leveraging your strengths. Your strengths are the foundation for building effective strategies.
So instead of thinking I'm terrible at writing, I might say, hey, I'm actually a great storyteller.
Exactly.
How can I use that strength to make my writing more engaging?
And the book highlights all sorts of strengths that are valuable in a doctoral program.
Yeah.
Think creative problem solving, strong verbal skills,
So.
the ability to think outside the box, making connections that others might miss. These are all assets.
These are skills that doctoral students use every single day. It's about recognizing that your strengths might look different, but they're just as valuable.
Absolutely.
And the book encourages you to go beyond just knowing your strengths.
It's about actively integrating them into your study habits.
Right.
So if you're a visual learner, for example, you might create mind maps or diagrams to organize your research. Or if you're a verbal learner, you might thrive in study groups where you can discuss and debate ideas.
I love that.
It's like custom designing your learning experience to play to your strengths. And speaking of customized learning, the book also talks about self-reflection and seeking feedback from others.
That's such an important point. Sometimes we're so focused on what we struggle with that we forget to acknowledge our talents.
Yeah.
Getting feedback from trusted mentors, professors, or even friends can help you uncover hidden strengths that you might not even realize you have.
Right. It's like having a personal cheerleader pointing out all the amazing things you're capable of.
I love that.
And once you have a solid grasp of your strengths, it becomes easier to build resilience and grit, which are crucial for navigating the ups and downs of a doctoral journey, right? You know, working on your doctorate can feel like an uphill battle, especially with the added challenges of ADHD.
Right.
That's where cultivating grit becomes your secret weapon.
Okay.
We're talking about that combination of passion and perseverance, the ability to stay laser focused on your long-term goals, even when things get tough.
Yeah. So it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter and having that unwavering determination to keep going, even when you hit roadblocks.
Right.
But how do you actually build grit? It sounds like this abstract quality that some people just have and others don't.
The good news is that grit is a skill you can develop.
Okay.
And the book gives some really practical tips for doing just that. One is setting small, achievable goals to build momentum.
Okay.
Instead of getting overwhelmed by the sheer enormity of a dissertation,
Right.
break it down into smaller, more manageable chunks. You're not trying to climb Mount Everest in a single leap. You're taking it one step at a time.
I love that analogy. It's like training for a marathon. You don't start by running 26 miles. You gradually increase your distance and build your stamina, so small wins lead to big victories.
Exactly.
Another key to building grit is having a solid support network. Feeling understood and supported, knowing you're not alone in this, can be incredibly powerful fuel for keeping you motivated when things get challenging.
That's a great point.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders rooting for you every step of the way. They remind you why you started this journey and help you celebrate those milestones along the way.
You got it. And finally, the book talks about developing a growth mindset.
Okay.
Which is all about believing that you can improve, that your abilities aren't fixed.
So it's not just about accepting your learning disability, it's about believing that you can learn and grow despite it.
Yes. A growth mindset is about seeing challenges as opportunities for learning and development. It's about believing that you can stretch and expand your abilities, rather than feeling limited by labels or past experiences.
That's such a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of thinking I'm bad at math, you might think I haven't mastered math yet, but I'm willing to put in the effort to learn and improve.
Exactly.
It's about embracing the journey, not just fixating on the destination.
Right.
Now, the book provides some concrete strategies for cultivating this growth mindset. One is setting realistic goals, focusing on progress rather than perfection. It's about acknowledging that you're not going to be an expert overnight,
Right.
but that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory.
And don't underestimate the power of reflection. Take the time to analyze your learning process. What worked well? What could you do differently next time? This kind of self-awareness can help you identify areas for growth and create strategies that are tailored to your specific needs.
Right. It's like becoming a scientist of your own learning process. Now, we've touched on mentorship a bit, but I'm curious to hear more about why it's so crucial, especially in this context. Why is having a mentor so important for someone with LD/ADHD who's pursuing a doctorate?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Imagine having someone who truly gets it, who understands the unique challenges of learning disabilities and ADHD,
Right.
who's maybe even been there themselves. They can provide invaluable guidance, encouragement, and support, tailored to your specific needs.
It's like having a personal Sherpa guiding you through the often treacherous terrain of a doctoral program.
I love that analogy.
Pointing out the best paths to take the pitfalls to avoid and offering encouragement when the going gets tough.
A good mentor can be that trusted advisor, cheerleader, and confidant all rolled into one. They can share their own experiences, offer strategies for navigating the academic landscape, and connect you with resources you might not even know existed.
It sounds like finding the right mentor can be a game changer. But how do you even go about finding one? Where do you start looking?
There are several avenues you can explore.
Okay.
One is reaching out to faculty members who have a reputation for being supportive of students with learning differences. Look for professors who are actively involved in disability services or who have experience with adaptive teaching methods.
So maybe start by checking out the faculty profiles on your department's website.
Exactly.
Or asking around among other students to see who gets rave reviews for their inclusivity and willingness to support students with diverse learning needs.
And don't be afraid to reach out to professors whose research interests align with yours. Even if you haven't taken their class yet, a shared passion for a particular subject can be a great foundation for a strong mentor-mentee relationship.
Right. It's like saying, hey, I'm really fascinated by your work on insert topic here.
Exactly.
And I'd love to pick your brain about how you approach research in this field. Who knows, that initial conversation could spark a connection that leads to a rewarding mentorship.
Absolutely.
Now, if your university doesn't have a formal mentorship program, don't despair. There are still plenty of ways to find a mentor.
Right.
Online communities and support groups dedicated to LD/ADHD can be incredible resources. They often have mentorship programs, or can connect you with individuals who are willing to share their expertise and guidance.
It's amazing how technology can connect us with people who share similar experiences and can offer invaluable support and advice.
And remember, when you're considering a potential mentor, look for someone who you feel comfortable being open and honest with.
Yes.
Someone who truly listens and understands your needs.
It's about more than just credentials or expertise. It's about that personal connection.
Right.
That feeling of being truly seen and supported.
You hit the nail on the head. It's also important to find someone who you admire and respect, whose career path or research inspires you.
Yeah.
Having that role model who's also in your corner can be incredibly motivating.
Now, we've talked about recognizing your strengths, building grit, developing a growth mindset, and finding a supportive mentor.
Right.
All essential ingredients for thriving in a doctoral program. But there's one more piece of the puzzle that's absolutely crucial for success,
Okay.
especially for those with LD/ADHD.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Now, mental health and self-care.
Oh, yeah. Let's face it. A doctorate is a marathon, not a sprint. And taking care of yourself is non-negotiable,
Right.
especially when you're dealing with the added challenges of LD/ADHD.
The book dedicates a whole chapter to this. Recognizing that doing a doctorate can be incredibly stressful. It's like you're climbing a mountain while carrying extra weight. It takes more energy, more resilience, more strategies for coping.
So how does the book approach this topic? What are some of the key takeaways for doctoral students with LD/ADHD who are juggling the demands of research, coursework, teaching, and everything else that comes with this journey?
It starts by emphasizing the importance of recognizing self-care as an essential ingredient for success.
Okay.
Not a luxury or a sign of weakness. It's about acknowledging that you can't pour from an empty cup,
Right.
and that taking care of your mental and emotional well-being is just as important as taking care of your academic responsibilities.
It's about creating a sustainable approach to your doctoral journey, one that allows you to thrive, not just survive. But I imagine a lot of doctoral students are rolling their eyes right now thinking, yeah, right, self-care sounds great in theory, but I barely have time to sleep, let alone meditate or go for a run.
I get it, we're all busy. And it's easy to let self-care slip to the bottom of the priority list.
Right.
But the book emphasizes that it's not about adding more to your already overflowing to-do list.
Okay.
It's about making small but meaningful changes to your routine, the kind of tweaks that can make a big difference in your overall well-being.
So give us some examples. What are some practical, actionable things that doctoral students with LD/ADHD can do to prioritize self-care without feeling like they're sacrificing their precious time or productivity?
One simple but powerful strategy is incorporating short mindfulness breaks into your study sessions.
Okay.
Even just a few minutes of deep breathing or stretching can help reduce stress and improve focus.
Okay, that sounds doable. It's not about having to block out an hour for yoga or meditation.
Right.
It's about finding those little pockets of time to reset and recharge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of getting enough sleep.
Easier said than done.
I know easier said than done for most doctoral students.
Right.
But even small improvements to your sleep hygiene can make a world of difference in your energy levels,
Right.
your mood, and your ability to focus.
Right. It's not about magically transforming into a perfect sleeper overnight. It's about making gradual changes, like establishing a regular bedtime routine, creating a relaxing sleep environment, and avoiding caffeine or alcohol before bed.
Those are all great tips.
Yeah.
And the book also talks about the importance of exercise,
Yeah.
not just for physical health, but for stress reduction, mood boosting, and mental clarity.
I know exercise can be a tough sell for some people, especially those who might have negative associations with it from gym class, or who feel self-conscious about working out. What does a book say about finding the motivation to move when you're already feeling overwhelmed and exhausted?
The key is to find activities you genuinely enjoy, things that don't feel like a chore or a punishment. It might be dancing, hiking, swimming, biking, anything that gets your body moving and releases those feel-good endorphins.
Right. It's about finding the joy in movement,
Exactly.
not seeing it as another obligation to add to your to-do list.
And remember, even short bursts of activity throughout the day can make a difference.
Right.
Take the stairs instead of the elevator walk, or bike to campus instead of driving, or just get up and stretch every hour or so.
Okay.
These small changes can add up to big improvements in your physical and mental well-being.
This is all so helpful, but what about when those little strategies aren't enough? What happens when you're feeling completely overwhelmed, stressed, or even anxious?
That's when it's crucial to reach out for professional help. Many universities have counseling services specifically for students, and the book encourages readers to take advantage of these resources.
Okay.
Talking to a therapist can provide you with valuable coping mechanisms and strategies for managing stress, anxiety, or any other mental health challenges you might be facing.
There's still a lot of stigma around mental health, so I can imagine it can be tough for some people to reach out for help. What does the book say about overcoming that stigma?
It emphasizes that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Huh.
It's about recognizing that you don't have to go through this alone, and that there's no shame in seeking support when you need it. And remember, you're not alone. Many doctoral students, even those without ADHD, experience anxiety, stress, and even depression during their studies.
Right.
It's a demanding and challenging journey, and it's okay to ask for help along the way.
It's like having a coach for your mental health, someone who can help you build the skills and resilience you need to navigate the ups and downs of this journey.
That's a great way to put it. And beyond counseling services, the book suggests exploring other resources like support groups or online forums where you can connect with other doctoral students who are going through similar experiences.
Right. It's all about building that network of support, both on campus and online, to help you through the tough times.
Now that we've talked about the mindset, the techniques,
Yeah.
and the support systems that can help you thrive in a doctoral program, let's move on to the tools.
Oh, I love this part. It's like the gadget section of our deep dive.
Exactly. And the book dives deep into the various assistive technologies and tools that can be absolute game changers for students with learning differences.
Okay, let's crack open that tech toolbox. What are some of the must-have tools that the book highlights?
Well, one of the most essential tools, especially for those who struggle with writing, is speech recognition software.
Oh, yeah.
It can make writing papers, taking notes, or even just composing emails so much easier and less stressful.
I'm a terrible typist, so I use speech to text all the time. It's been a lifesaver for me, especially when I'm working on long documents or have to take notes quickly during meetings.
It's amazing how much more efficient and enjoyable writing can be
Oh.
when you're not battling with the keyboard or struggling to get your thoughts down on paper.
Right.
And for those with dysgraphia or other learning differences that impact handwriting, speech recognition software can be a truly liberating tool.
It's like giving your voice the power to translate your thoughts directly onto the screen. Bypassing those obstacles that can make writing feel so daunting.
Another must-have category is organizational and time management tools.
Ooh, I'm an app addict, so I'm all ears. What
Yeah.
kind of apps are we talking about?
The book suggests looking for apps that can help you keep track of deadlines, break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, and create visual schedules or to-do lists.
I love using apps that let me color code tasks and appointments. It makes everything so much easier to visualize and prioritize.
And the book specifically mentions the importance of visual reminders for those with ADHD, where those visual cues can be really helpful for staying focused and on track.
Right, makes sense.
Exactly.
It's like having a visual roadmap that helps you stay on course and avoid getting sidetracked.
Now, another category of tools that can be incredibly helpful for doctoral students, especially those with LD, is collaborative tools. Think about all those group projects and research collaborations that are such a big part of a doctoral program. These tools can make working together so much smoother and more productive.
Group projects can be a nightmare for those who might struggle with communication or social dynamics. So what kind of collaborative tools can help ease those challenges and make working with others more enjoyable and successful?
The book mentions things like video conferencing platforms, which have become essential these days,
Right.
even if everyone's on the same campus. Then there's shared document editing software, which allows everyone to work on the same document simultaneously, and project manager tools, which can help keep everyone organized and accountable for their tasks.
It's like having a virtual project manager keeping everyone on the same page,
Precisely.
tracking progress and ensuring that everyone's contributions are valued and recognized.
And the book also emphasizes the importance of clear and open communication. Within these tools, it's about creating a space where everyone feels comfortable expressing their ideas, asking for help when needed, and celebrating each other's contributions.
Right. It's about fostering a collaborative spirit where everyone feels empowered to participate and contribute their unique strengths and perspectives. Now, with so much new technology coming out all the time, it can be overwhelming to keep up. Any tips on how to stay informed about the latest tools and resources that can be helpful for students with LD ADHD?
The book recommends tapping into the power of online communities.
Okay.
Those support groups and forums we talked about earlier can be gold mines of information. You can connect with other students who are using these tools, share tips and tricks, and get recommendations for apps or software that might be a good fit for your specific needs.
It's like having a tech support team made up of people who truly understand your challenges.
Exactly.
And can offer advice and solutions based on their own experiences.
And they can often point you to resources you might not have found on your own. Things like specialized apps, software discounts, or even accessibility hacks that can make mainstream tech more user-friendly.
I love those hacks for those with learning differences.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how creative people can be in finding ways to make tech work for them.
And beyond online communities, I would also recommend checking with your university's accessibility services. They often have a wealth of knowledge about the latest assistive technologies.
Okay.
And can provide demos or even loan out equipment for you to try before you invest in it.
Okay. This is all fantastic information. I'm feeling so empowered and inspired to explore all these incredible tools that can make this journey so much smoother. But alas, we've reached the end of part 1 of our deep dive. What can our listeners look forward to in part 2?
Well, we've laid the foundation. Explore the mindset, the strategies, the support systems, and even the tech tools that can help you succeed in a doctoral program, even with the added layer of LD ADHD. In part 2, we'll delve into the nitty-gritty of university resources and support services. We'll unpack what those accessibility offices actually offer, how to advocate for your needs, and why connecting with those disability support offices can be such a game changer.
I can't wait to dive deeper into those support systems. But for now, we'll leave you with this thought. What are your unique strengths? Take a moment to reflect on what you're naturally good at, what comes easily to you, and how you can leverage those strengths to navigate your doctoral journey. And remember, you've got this. We'll see you in part 2.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had a chance to really think about those unique strengths of yours, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing how much focusing on what we're good at can totally shift our perspective.
Absolutely.
Right.
And building on that idea of support, we're diving into the nitty-gritty of university resources in this part of our deep dive. Remember those accessibility services we mentioned earlier? Those offices are like hidden gems on campus, specifically designed to level the playing field for students with LD ADHD. Okay, but let's be real, a lot of people might feel intimidated about actually reaching out to those offices. It's almost like admitting you need help, which can be tough, especially in a high-achieving environment like a doctorate program.
Yeah.
So what does the book have to say about getting over that hurdle?
The book encourages you to ditch that fear and reach out early.
Oh.
Don't wait until you're drowning in coursework or feeling completely overwhelmed. Think of it like preventative care for your academic well-being.
I love that analogy. Just like you wouldn't wait until you're seriously ill to see a doctor, you don't have to wait until you're academically struggling to seek support.
Exactly. Those accessibility offices are there to help you thrive, not just survive. And the book really emphasizes that these services aren't favors.
Okay.
They're your rights. You have a right to an equitable education, and these offices are there to make that happen.
So what kind of concrete support can someone actually get from these accessibility services? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, they offer a whole range of academic accommodations. That can make a huge difference. Think extended time for exams.
Yeah.
Super helpful if processing information takes a bit longer for you, right?
Right.
Or maybe you need note takers for lectures, especially if you struggle with keeping up with the pace, or have difficulty processing auditory information. Some students even benefit from having textbooks in audio format if reading is a challenge.
Okay.
It's really about customizing the learning experience to fit your needs.
Right. It's like having a tailor make you a custom suit for your academic journey, so it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly.
It's about finding the specific support that will be most beneficial for you.
And that's why having that initial conversation with the Accessibility Services Office is so crucial. It's like a brainstorming session where you can figure out what specific accommodations will help you level up your learning game.
Okay, so we've got the accessibility services for academic help, but what about more holistic support? Is there anywhere else on campus that students can turn to?
Absolutely. Many universities have these amazing disability support offices that go beyond just the academic stuff. Think of them as your allies,
Okay.
not just another bureaucratic hurdle to jump through.
What kind of support do these offices typically offer?
They often provide workshops on things like time management. Because let's face it, that's a challenge for anyone in a doctorate program, right?
Right.
But they tailor these workshops specifically for students with LD ADHD, offering strategies that really work.
Okay.
They might also have workshops on study skills, again, geared toward your unique learning style. And some even offer social skills development workshops, which can be really helpful for navigating the often complex social dynamics of academia.
Yeah. Those social skills workshops sound especially helpful. Because let's be real, group projects can be a major source of stress for anyone, but especially for those who might struggle with things like communication or social anxiety.
You're right. And the book highlights how these workshops can help students develop the confidence and skills to not only survive group projects, but to actually thrive in those collaborative settings.
It's like giving you the tools to not just participate, but to actually lead and contribute your unique strengths to those group dynamics.
Exactly. And beyond those workshops, these disability support offices often provide something even more valuable, a sense of community.
That feeling of belonging, of knowing you're not alone in this journey, can be so powerful, right?
It can be a game changer. These offices often become a hub for students with LD/ADHD to connect with others who truly understand their experiences, to share tips and strategies, and to just feel seen and supported.
Right. It's like having a built-in support group where you can celebrate the wins together, commiserate over the challenges, and just know that you're not the only one navigating this unique path.
Yeah, we talked about accessibility services and disability support offices.
Okay.
But there's another layer of support that can make a world of difference, and that's mentorship. We touched on this earlier, but I'm curious to hear more about what makes mentorship so crucial for someone with LD/ADHD who's pursuing a doctorate.
Yeah, it's all about having someone in your corner who truly gets it, who understands the unique challenges you're facing, and who can offer guidance and support tailored to your specific needs.
It's like having a personal guide through the often confusing and overwhelming world of academia, someone who can help you navigate the system, advocate for yourself, and stay motivated when the going gets tough.
Right. And the book highlights several key benefits of mentorship. For students with LD/ADHD, first, a good mentor can provide guidance from someone who's been there, who's maybe even walked a similar path themselves. They can offer strategies and advice based on their own lived experiences, which can be incredibly valuable.
It's that insider knowledge that you just can't get from a textbook or a website.
Right. It's like having a seasoned traveler share their secret tips for navigating a new city. They know the shortcuts, the hidden gems, and the pitfalls to avoid.
I love that analogy.
So beyond practical guidance, what else can a good mentor offer?
Well, they can be an incredible source of emotional support.
Okay.
Doing a doctorate is stressful for anyone. But for those with LD/ADHD, there can be an added layer of pressure and self-doubt. Having a mentor who believes in you, who encourages you to keep going, who celebrates your wins, That can be incredibly powerful fuel for staying motivated and resilient.
Right. It's like having your own personal cheerleader in your corner, reminding you of your strengths and helping you see past those moments of self-doubt.
Exactly. And beyond emotional support. A good mentor can also connect you with resources and networks that you might not know about.
Okay.
Things like specialized study groups, assistive technology, even funding opportunities, specifically for students with LD/ADHD.
So they're not just a guide, they're a connector opening doors that you might not even have known existed.
Exactly.
This is all starting to sound pretty amazing, but how does someone actually find a good mentor? Where do you even begin?
That's a great question, and thankfully the book provides some really helpful tips on this. It suggests starting by reaching out to faculty members who have a reputation for being supportive of students with learning disabilities.
Okay.
Maybe they're involved with disability services on campus. Or they've incorporated adaptive teaching methods into their courses.
So do your research, check out faculty profiles, talk to other students, and see who stands out as being truly committed to creating an inclusive and supportive learning environment.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to reach out to professors who are doing research in an area you're passionate about, even if you haven't taken their class yet.
Okay.
That shared intellectual interest can be a great foundation for a strong mentor-mentee relationship.
Right. It's like saying, hey, I'm really fascinated by your work, and I'd love to learn more about how you approach research in this field. Who knows, that initial conversation could spark a connection.
Absolutely.
That blossoms into a rewarding mentorship.
Now, if your university doesn't have a formal mentorship program, are there other avenues for finding a mentor?
Right. What if you're at a smaller school?
Absolutely. The book suggests exploring online communities and support groups. These digital spaces can be incredible resources for connecting with people who understand your experiences and can offer guidance and support.
It's amazing how technology can connect us with people who share similar challenges and can offer encouragement and advice based on their own lived experiences.
It really is. And many of these online communities have mentorship programs or can connect you with individuals who are willing to share their expertise and guidance.
So even if you're feeling isolated or like you're the only one navigating these challenges, remember that there's a whole community out there ready to support you. You just have to reach out and connect.
Now, let's say you found a potential mentor. How do you know if they're a good fit for you?
Yeah. What are some key things to look for?
The book emphasizes the importance of finding someone who you feel comfortable being open and honest with.
Right.
Someone who truly listens and understands your needs. It's about more than just credentials or expertise. It's about that personal connection, that feeling of being truly seen and supported.
Right. It's like finding a therapist for your academic journey.
Exactly.
Someone who you can trust, confide in, and who gets where you're coming from.
And it's also important to find someone who you respect and admire, whose career path or research inspires you.
Right.
Having that role model who's also in your corner can be incredibly motivating. It's like having a living, breathing example of what's possible. A reminder that you can achieve your dreams even with the added layer of LD/ADHD.
It's like having your own personal superhero guiding you along the way.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground on support systems, from accessibility services to disability support offices to the power of mentorship. But there's one more crucial element that we need to address, and that's mental health and self-care.
Right. We've touched on this a bit throughout our deep dive, but it's so important, especially for doctoral students with LD/ADHD, that it really deserves its own spotlight.
You're so right. It's like we've been equipping ourselves with all the best gear and mapping out the terrain for this doctoral journey. But we can't forget about the most important element, the well-being of the traveler.
Right. And the book really emphasizes that taking care of your mental and emotional health isn't a luxury. It's a necessity.
Yeah, it's like putting on your oxygen mask first before helping others. You can't pour from an empty cup.
And let's be honest, a doctorate is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a demanding, challenging journey that can really push you to your limits, intellectually, emotionally, even physically.
Exactly.
And that's why the book dedicates a whole chapter to this topic, acknowledging that doing a doctorate with LD/ADHD can add another layer of complexity to the mix.
It's like you're running that marathon with a weighted vest on. It takes more energy, more resilience, more strategies for coping with the inevitable ups and downs that come with this journey.
So how does the book approach this topic? What are some of the key takeaways for doctoral students with LD/ADHD who are juggling the demands of research, coursework, teaching, and everything else that comes with this path?
What starts by reframing self-care as an essential ingredient for success. not a luxury or a sign of weakness. It's about recognizing that you can't perform at your best if you're running on empty.
Right.
And that prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being is just as important as meeting those deadlines and achieving those academic milestones.
Right. It's about creating a sustainable approach to this journey, one that allows you to thrive, not just survive.
Exactly.
But I imagine a lot of doctoral students are rolling their eyes right now thinking, yeah, right, self-care sounds great in theory, but I barely have time to eat, let alone meditate or go for a run.
I hear you. We're all busy.
Yeah.
And it's easy to let self-care slip to the bottom of the priority list. But the book emphasizes that it's not about adding more to your already overflowing to-do list.
Okay.
It's about making small but meaningful changes to your routine. The kind of tweaks that can have a ripple effect on your overall well-being.
So give us some examples. What are some practical, actionable things that doctoral students with LD-ADHD can do to prioritize self-care without feeling like they're sacrificing their precious time or productivity? Because I know I'm always looking for those time-saving acts.
Well, one simple but powerful strategy is incorporating short mindfulness breaks into your study sessions.
Okay.
Even just a few minutes of deep breathing or stretching can help reduce stress, clear your mind, and improve focus.
I love those mini meditation apps that guide you through a quick breathing exercise or a body scan.
Yeah.
It's amazing how just a few minutes of focused attention on your breath or your body can shift your whole energy.
Exactly. It's like hitting the reset button on your nervous system. And another key element of self-care that's often neglected is getting enough sleep.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
I know it's easier said than done when you're juggling a million things and deadlines are looming. But even small improvements to your sleep hygiene can make a world of difference.
Yeah. I'm definitely guilty of burning the midnight oil. But I know that when I prioritize sleep, I'm so much more focused and productive the next day.
Right. It's like recharging your battery so you can function at your best. And the book offers some practical tips for improving your sleep hygiene.
Okay.
It might be establishing a regular bedtime routine, signaling to your body that it's time to wind down. Creating a relaxing sleep environment, think cozy blankets, blackout curtains, white noise. And avoiding caffeine or alcohol before bed, those sneaky sleep disruptors.
Okay, those are all good tips. I'm definitely going to try that blackout curtain trick. I'm a super light sleeper, so any little bit of light can keep me awake.
It can make a big difference.
Yeah.
And beyond sleep, the book also talks about the importance of exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Not just for physical health, but for reducing stress, boosting your mood, and improving mental clarity.
Right. I know exercise can be a tough sell for some people,
Right.
especially if you have negative associations with it from gym class or you're not naturally athletic. What does the book say about finding the motivation to move when you're already feeling overwhelmed and exhausted?
It all comes down to finding activities that you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah.
Things that energize you, not drain you. Forget about those grueling workouts or trying to force yourself into an exercise routine that you dread. Think about what brings you joy, what makes you feel alive. It might be dancing, hiking, swimming, biking, anything that gets your body moving and releases those feel-good endorphins.
I love that reframing. It's not about punishment or obligation. It's about finding those activities that make you feel good, both physically and mentally.
Exactly.
And even short bursts of movement throughout the day can make a difference, right?
Absolutely. Take the stairs instead of the elevator walk, or a bike to campus instead of driving, or just get up and stretch every hour or so. These small changes can add up to big improvements in your energy levels and overall well-being.
Right. It's like sneaking in those healthy habits throughout your day rather than trying to overhaul your entire routine. Now, what about when those self-care strategies aren't enough? What happens when you're feeling really overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, or even depressed?
That's when it's crucial to reach out for professional help. Many universities offer counseling services specifically for students. And the book strongly encourages you to take advantage of these resources.
Right.
Talking to a therapist can equip you with valuable coping mechanisms and strategies for managing stress, anxiety, or any other mental health challenges you might be facing.
It's like having a coach for your mental health, someone who can help you navigate those tough times and build the resilience you need to thrive in this demanding environment.
Exactly. And there's still so much stigma around mental health. So I can imagine it might feel difficult to take that step of reaching out for help.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does the book say about overcoming that stigma? It emphasizes that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about recognizing that you don't have to go through this alone, and that seeking support is a smart and courageous choice. And remember, You're not alone in this. Many doctoral students, even those without LD/ADHD, experience anxiety, stress, and even depression during their studies. It's a challenging journey, and it's okay to ask for help along the way.
And beyond counseling services, are there other resources that the book recommends exploring?
Definitely, the book suggests checking out support groups or online forums where you can connect with other doctoral students who are going through similar experiences. These communities can provide a sense of belonging, shared understanding, and encouragement. Knowing you're not alone in this can make a world of difference.
Right. It's all about building that network of support, both on campus and online. And remember, those disability support offices we talked about earlier often have social events or groups specifically for students with LD/ADHD.
That's a great point. Those can be fantastic opportunities to connect with peers who truly understand your experiences and to share tips and strategies for navigating the unique challenges of a doctoral journey.
Now, all this talk about challenges and support systems might have some listeners feeling a bit overwhelmed, especially if they're just starting out on their doctoral path.
Yeah,
So to wrap up our deep dive, I think it's time for a dose of inspiration.
I agree.
The book is filled with incredible stories of individuals who not only completed their doctorates while dealing with LD/ADHD, but who are now thriving in their chosen fields.
You're so right. Those stories are a powerful reminder that this journey is not only possible, but that it can lead to incredible fulfillment and success. They're like beacons of hope illuminating the path for others to follow.
So tell us about some of these amazing individuals who are the rock stars featured in the book.
One story that really stood out to me is about a woman named Sarah, who earned her PhD in educational psychology, a field where reading and writing are absolutely essential,
Wow.
despite struggling with dyslexia her whole life.
That's incredible. It's like defying the odds, proving that those learning differences don't have to define your limits. How did she do it? What strategies did she use to overcome those challenges?
Well, the book talks about how she developed incredibly strong organizational skills to compensate for her dyslexia. She broke down her workload into manageable chunks, used color coding systems to keep track of her notes and research, and relied heavily on digital tools like text-to-speech software to help her process written information.
It's like she hacked her own learning process, figuring out what worked best for her and then maximizing those strategies to achieve her goals.
Exactly. And she didn't just keep those strategies to herself. She became an advocate for other students with learning disabilities, sharing her tips, and even teaching workshops on study skills tailored for diverse learners.
I love that it's like she took her challenge and turned it into a superpower, not just for herself, but for others as well.
Absolutely. Another inspiring story is about a guy named Daniel who has ADHD.
Okay.
He found traditional lectures and reading incredibly difficult. His mind would wander. He'd get restless, and he struggled to retain information.
Oh, I can totally relate to that. I'm a fidgeter myself, and I know how hard it can be to stay focused when your brain feels like it's in overdrive. So what strategies worked for Daniel? How did he find his way through that?
Well, he discovered that he needed to incorporate movement into his study routine to stay engaged.
Okay.
He would listen to lectures while walking or exercising, and he'd take frequent breaks to stretch or just move around.
It's like he figured out how to hack his ADHD to work for him, not against him.
Exactly. And he also became a vocal advocate for mental health awareness in academia, speaking openly about his own experiences and encouraging others to prioritize self-care and to break the stigma around mental health challenges, which can be so prevalent in these high-pressure environments.
These stories are so inspiring. They show that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. It's all about embracing your unique learning style and finding what works best for you. So as we wrap up our deep dive, what's the biggest takeaway from all these success stories? What's the common thread that runs through them all?
The common thread is that earning a doctorate with LD/ADHD is challenging, but absolutely achievable. It takes hard work, dedication, resilience, and a willingness to advocate for yourself. But it's possible. And the book provides a roadmap for how to do it, equipping you with the mindset, the strategies, the resources, and the inspiration to turn your dream into a reality.
It's like we've been on this incredible journey together, exploring the terrain, gathering the tools, and connecting with the guides who can help us reach the summit.
And remember, you're not alone on this path. There's a whole community of support out there, from accessibility services to disability support offices to mentors who've walked a similar path to online communities and support groups.
So if you're feeling lost, discouraged, or overwhelmed, remember those success stories. Remember the resources available to you and reach out for help. You've got this.
And one last thought before we sign off. If you could wave a magic wand and create one new tool or resource to help doctoral students with LD/ADHD, What would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I would create a comprehensive online platform that brings together all the best elements we've discussed today. It would have personalized learning assessments to help you pinpoint your strengths and challenges, a database of assistive technologies and study strategies tailored for diverse learners, a mentorship matching system to connect you with someone who gets it, and a vibrant online community where you could connect with other students, share tips, and find support.
That's brilliant. It's like a one-stop shop for everything you need to thrive in a doctoral program customized specifically for those with LD/ADHD. And it would be constantly updated with the latest research and resources, so students would always have access to the most effective tools and strategies.
Right. I love it. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive, but I hope this is just the beginning of your journey toward achieving your doctoral dreams.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible exploration. We've covered a lot of ground, but remember, the most important journey is the one you take within yourself. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep breaking those barriers.
Thanks for listening to Mindfully Integrative with Dr. Damaris G. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcast or your favorite streaming site. If you would like to be a guest of our show or interview, email us at info@damarismaria.com. If you want to learn more about the resources mentioned in the podcast, you can find those in the show notes. To connect mindfully with Dr. Damaris G, reach her at www.damarismaria.com or connect via social media links. We appreciate your time connecting here with us. May your strength and peace within bring you more balance every day. Namaste.